Coming up on Spartan Sports Report, the Michigan State hockey team took a trip down to South Bend with a chance to clinch the Big Ten title. The men's basketball team was also looking to grab its conference title for the first time since 2020, and the women's basketball team celebrated its seniors during its final home game of the season. Hello and welcome back to the Spartan Newsroom for this week's episode of Spartan Sports Report. I'm Bobby Cushing.
And I'm Michaela Mazza. Bobby, even with students gone on spring break, Spartan sports were in full swing last week.
Yeah, they were, Michaela. Two teams had big chances at hoisting trophies, and others got more into the swing of things to kick off the spring weather.
They did, but we're going to start at the Breslin Center with some women's basketball. To kick off March, number 23 Michigan State women's basketball hosted Minnesota to end the regular season and celebrate Senior Day. Both teams struggled to find the basket with a Minnesota turnover and a missed shot by Theron Halleck early. But it started raining threes for the Spartans as Inez Sotelo would get her team going from beyond the arc, followed by Emma Shoemate and Jaden Simmons with triples of their own. The score remained tight for much of the game. Minnesota's Tori McKinney started the second half hot with an aggressive finish at the rim as well as a three-point bucket. But Nyla Hampton and Julia Ayrault would also knock down threes to keep the game close. Despite the narrow contest, Freilich's squad pulled away in the final minutes with points from Grace Van Sluten, who was dominating the paint. And then Ayrault drained a three to seal the game before kissing the Breslin floor and closing out her time at MSU. The rest of the Spartan seniors, Jocelyn Tate, Simmons, and Hampton, also got to participate in the Spartan tradition following the team's 73-58 victory. A busy week for Freilich's squad. The women then headed to Indianapolis on Thursday to start their run for a Big Ten title. The Spartans faced the Iowa Hawkeyes in the second round of the Big Ten tournament after earning a first-round bye. 24 total turnovers for MSU combined with a scoring drought late in the game led to a 74-61 loss. Freilich and her team now await the NCAA Tournament Selection Day on Sunday at 8 p.m., hoping to continue their season.
It was another busy week for the Spartans on the diamond as the MSU baseball team played in Greenville, South Carolina. Before beginning their weekend battles, they had a tough matchup against the Western Carolina Catamounts, in which they would fall 10-7. Next, the team would begin their play in the First Pitch Invitational. They would go 3-1 overall, splitting their matchups with UAB and taking wins against Cornell and Winthrop. The team's standout performance comes from the bat of Sam Bush, who tallied 4 runs batted in against the Catamounts, as well as 2 home runs against UAB. The ball club looks to continue their solid play against rival Michigan on Wednesday at McLean Stadium.
The softball team headed to Oxford, Ohio this past weekend for a pair of games against Miami University and Northern Kentucky. They dropped the first game 8-0 against the Redhawks, but rebounded by winning the remaining 3 with a combined score of 25-8. They moved to 7-9 on the season and look to extend that win streak, launching Big Ten play against Minnesota and Northwestern this weekend.
The number 3 Spartan hockey team traveled to South Bend for the final weekend of regular season play for a 2-game series against Notre Dame. They had an opportunity to win the Big Ten regular season title for the second consecutive year. The Spartans took Game 1 on the backs of Carson Dorwart, Joey Larson, and Tommy Manisto, who all registered multi-point nights as MSU won 5-2. After a Minnesota loss to Penn State, all the Spartans needed to win in regulation for the title, and Shane Vansaugi got it started 2:25 into the game, and the Spartans led 1-0 after the first period. Notre Dame found its response in just the second. With just 32 seconds into the period, it's Grant Salinoff evening it up at 1. The Spartans swung back harder with this goal by Tiernan Chowdy off the skate of a Notre Dame defenseman. Less than 2 minutes later, Griffin Jarecki makes this play after the face-off, centering it out in front for Vansaugi for his second goal of the game to put MSU up by 2. The Fighting Irish cut it to 3-2 in the third, but the Green and White surged back with this power play goal by Tanner Kelly, stuffing home the rebound slot to make it 4-2 Michigan State. After the empty netter by Chowdy, his second of the game, the Spartans went on to win 5-2 and won a share of the Big Ten regular season title, tying with Minnesota.
We're super proud of the guys, and but we want to keep playing hockey, right? And I think that I do think that's an unbelievable accomplishment. But we feel like we got a lot of hockey left in us, and we still got to go out there and prove it.
The Spartans have won back-to-back Big Ten titles and finished the regular season with 50 points in the conference. They also earned a bye and the #1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. The Fighting Irish had a resounding win in the quarterfinals versus Minnesota, and the teams will face off once again this weekend as Michigan State will try to ruin Notre Dame's St. Patty's Day on Saturday night at 6 p.m. at the Munn Ice Arena. The victor of that game will play the winner of Ohio State and Penn State the following Saturday.
After a first-place victory at the Big Four meet, #8 Michigan State women's gymnastics headed down south to Huntsville, Alabama to compete in the Elevate the Stage meet. MSU finished second to #6 California, being outscored by just 0.05. Gabrielle Stevens scored a season high of 39.55 to earn a share of the all-around title for the Spartans. MSU will host Bowling Green for Senior Day this Sunday to cap off the regular season.
Men's basketball beat Wisconsin on March 2nd after trailing by 2 at the half. The green and white used their second half power to mount a comeback, winning the game 71-62. With MSU leading in the Big Ten standings, Iowa remained the last standing foe in the way of the Spartans becoming outright Big Ten champions. Michigan State struggled in the first 20 minutes of play as Iowa built a 7-point lead to go up 37-30 at half, but Jeremy Fears would have something to say about that, hitting this corner three. The Spartans went on to explode in the second half, scoring 61 points. Junior Jackson Kohler was outstanding, grabbing 6 boards and hitting 5 of 7 shots from the field, totaling 15 points. And as always, the Spartans could rely on Trey Holloman to hit a few big shots. But the real star of the game was Freshman of the Week, Jace Richardson, who led the pack in scoring, dazzling the entire night, putting up 22 with 4 rebounds. The contest would end in a 91-84 Spartan win, establishing Michigan State as the 2025 Big Ten regular season champions. The regular season was not finished as the Spartans had one more home game. It was Senior Day against their in-state rival Michigan. An electric Breslin Center crowd prepared to send their seniors off the right way. One of the seniors honored was Jaden Akins as he got hot from the jump, scoring 9 points in the first 7 minutes with 3 buckets from beyond the arc. MSU used this momentum and 11 Wolverine turnovers to jump to a big first half lead, highlighted by back-to-back dunks, first from Richardson, and then it was the Kohler Bear putting it down on the fast break. The Spartans took a 50-28 lead into halftime and did not look back. It's Kohler again, the bottom! The big man celebrates and goes back on defense. Holloman also made big plays with a career-high 20 points on 8 of 12 from the field. Richardson was fantastic as well, as he had 18. And it would be this corner three right here that would constitute the dagger in this one. As the game concluded, the Spartans continued their 30-year historic tradition as seniors Shimon Zapawa, the Polish Hammer, Frankie Fiddler, and Akins all took part in kissing the Spartan head as they won by a final of 79-62 in their last home game of the year. Up next for Michigan State is a trip to the Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament. As the #1 seed, Michigan State will start off with a double bye and will be in action on Friday against the winner of the 9-8 matchup between Oregon and Indiana.
The 47th ranked men's tennis team started Big Ten play this past weekend, hosting 2 ranked opponents in number 49 Washington and number 54 Oregon. The Spartans had a dominant performance on Friday against the Huskies, taking the doubles point and 4 singles points to secure the 5-2 win. They continued the win streak on Sunday, taking down the Ducks 4-2. The Spartans are undefeated in Big Ten play and will host number 8 Arizona on Wednesday. The women's team also saw its first conference opponents on the road, facing off against number 52 Iowa on Friday and number 44 Nebraska on Sunday. Against Iowa, senior Lisa Vavalainen put up the lone point for MSU as the Spartans fell 4-1 to the Hawkeyes. However, the green and white bounced back on Sunday, upsetting Nebraska 4-2 to earn head coach Kim Bruno's 100th victory with MSU. After the weekend, the Spartans are 1-1 in Big Ten play and will return to East Lansing to face Penn State on Saturday and Ohio State on Sunday.
The Michigan State men's golf team made the trip down to Bluffton, South Carolina on March 2nd for the Colleton River Collegiate. The Spartans shot a 1 under 863 to finish in first on the 16-team tournament. Casey Luban's squad beat out second-place Kansas State by a strong 11-stroke margin. This marked the 15th tournament win for Luban, giving him the most tournament wins by a head coach in program history. It was a full team effort, but sophomore Lorenzo Pinelli certainly helped, finishing 6 under par and earning medalist honors as well as Big Ten Golfer of the Week. Michigan State will now travel to Sea Island, Georgia, next for the Johnny O tourney beginning Monday, March 17th.
The wrestling team competed in the Big Ten Championships over the weekend in Evanston, Illinois, where 3 freshman Spartans punched their ticket to the NCAA Wrestling Championships in Philadelphia in 2 weeks. 125-pounder Caleb Weand was able to go 2-2 on day 1, both of his wins coming by decision to qualify for his first career NCAA tournament. Weand wasn't the only Spartan to get his first career qualification on Saturday, with Max Venadia picking up a major decision victory alongside a medical forfeit, which allowed him to advance. On day 2, Remy Cotton would become the final of 3 Spartans to secure a spot in Philly. After going 0-2 on Saturday, he was able to pick up his first win against Purdue's Ben Venadia, which, Bobby, if that sounds familiar, he happens to be the older brother of Spartan twins Max and Luke Venadia. As a team at the Big Ten Championships, the Spartans would place 14th, scoring 11.5 team points. The wrestling season may be over for most of the team, but the 3 redshirt freshman qualifiers will look to finish off their season strong in the NCAA Championships.
Thank you for tuning in for this week's edition of Spartan Sports Report.
For more content, make sure to check out the Spartan Newsroom and all of our social medias. I'm Michaela Mazza.
And I'm Bobby Cushing. We'll see you next week.